Alrighty, it's time to have an honest conversation with what I believe is one of the funniest women around. She's a mother and she has written a book called Some Mums Are Fat Molls. I'm going to warn that there might be a little language in here, that if you've got sensitive ears, just be wary. Hello, Nelly Thomas. It's gorgeous to see you.
I can't believe you've segued from Professor Lewin to me and a book called Some Mums Are Fat Molls. I'm so ashamed of myself and my life choices.
Didn't you hear her say, don't feel guilty and just
help.
be yourself? In fact, I think the two of you have the same message.
Look, in a way, that, let's not get ahead of ourselves. This woman's like saving lives and I'm going, it's fine to have pubes. You know what I mean?
It's going to save someone's life, Nelly. It will.
It's going to save someone. Oh, my Lord.
Nelly, what's the inspiration behind the name?
What's that?
What's the inspiration behind the name of the book?
Oh, I just wanted to say hello to Webeck and Joe because I adore you both so much. But the inspiration behind the name is that fat mole was actually the first heckle I ever got. So I started stand-up in 2002, and like most stand-up comedians, you're terrified of getting heckled. And the first time it happened to me was the Hi-Fi Bar during the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. I walked out on stage and someone yelled out, from the dark, as these brave people do,
yes.
Yeah, fat mole. And to be fair, accurate but rude. Bloody rude. So I'm reclaiming it, ladies. I'm reclaiming it. It's been rattling around in my head for nearly 20 years, and I'm just going, yeah, I am a fat mole. Bring it.
And so, the book explores more than just you being a fat mole.
Sure.
It's you know what? It's a picture book. It's not like a memoir of all the times that you've been heckled in your life. But it is a joyous embracing of the fact that as mothers, we are all things and all kinds, and we don't have to fit into some version of a stereotype that you might see in an advertising campaign.
Well, that's right. And I think for me, part of the inspiration for it was every year Mother's Day rolls around and I feel really I feel torn about Mother's Day because I love the respect and appreciation of mothers and the mothering role and the caring role so undervalued. But so much of what's directed at mothers around Mother's Day is really infantilizing. And it's kind of a bigger message, I think, that's sent to women that once you have children, you lose yourself, you lose your individuation, you lose your adult identity. Like even the somewhat controversy around swearing in the book, it's like mothers are adults, like we're allowed to do swears. If you don't like swears, don't buy the book.
It's funny you bring that up, Nelly, because I love swearing. I think
I know you do.
I consider it one of my great skills. I have other friends who are mothers who also swear, but then there's the mothers that don't swear. And I think, how did you, what happened that you lost that when you pushed a child out of your body? Because that didn't happen to me. And I feel like have I failed, Nelly?
No, you haven't. To me, it's and this is the point of the book for me. Like it's supposed to be cathartic in the sense of telling the truth. All the women, all the mothers I know swear. Now, I know not all women and not all mothers swear, but if you swore before you had kids, you're allowed to swear after you've had kids.
We've had ongoing conversations with other parents around, is it okay to swear in front of your kids, right? And I say, well, my daughter knows that wine is for adults, and so is the word fuck. So, I think she understands not to say it generally around me anyway.
I totally agree. And language has its place. Like, don't go around grandma's house and say, you fat fucking mole, and if you're 8, maybe don't pop that out at prep. But yeah, it sounds stupid. Like they understand rules like don't touch the heater and don't drink mum's gin. So they can also understand. I mean, we moderate our swearing around the kids, but we certainly don't have a no swearing policy. Webeck's sworn at my children.
Oh,
At them or around them?
Well,
Can we clarify?
I don't want to get you in too much trouble, but, you know, I've certainly heard some coarse language coming from the Webeck around the little people.
Nelly, I didn't realise we were getting you on so you could cancel me.
I'll leave that to others. You know how much I adore you. But I do, you know, I also think this sounds a bit wanky, but I'm going to be honest. I'm from a, you know, country, WA, working class background originally, and this is how we talk. Like it's a little bit of me taking ownership of that. Like I exist mostly in different circles these days where that kind of honesty and that kind of language is much more sort of tempered, and I'm kind of reclaiming it, you know, a la Professor Lewin. That's, you know, it's part of my heritage. Oh, you are.
I totally relate to that. No, I am. I come from the south side of Canberra, and when I moved to Melbourne, it was like people were speaking a whole different language. It was like people enunciate whole words here. Like, what are you even talking about? So, I 100% relate to that.
Yeah,
and Nelly, you're no stranger. Yeah, well, that's right, isn't it? You're no stranger to pumping out some very important and wonderful children's books. I'm just wondering what inspired keeping that format for the Some Mums book?
Yeah, interesting. Well, this has been part of when you said pumping out, I thought you were going to say pumping out kids, and I thought, geez, steady on. But anyway, I wanted to keep the format, but well, there's a practical reason, which is that I think a lot of mums, quite frankly, haven't got the inclination or time to read another friggin' parenting book that tells us whether we should be breastfeeding, using dummies, doing Pilates, whatever the hell. But also, I just like the simplicity of a picture book, and just to reinforce those fundamental messages of like, if you love your kids and you're trying hard, which, you know, most people are, it's okay. It is just okay. The amount of mixed messages, even before when you're talking to Professor Lewin, you know, that pressure of you're not working enough, you're working too much. Every person who's caring for children will understand that message. You know, so trying to just reiterate that through a really simple format. It's interesting though, because the publishers were a bit nervous, as you can imagine. You know, it's like children's author doing a sweary book, but I'm like, oh mate, I turned 47 this year. I'm doing whatever I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done trying to please people. Just like, again, take it or leave it. If it's not your thing, don't buy it.
Look, I hear you. It is such a glorious age, Nelly. I'm 48.
Isn't it?
I turned 49 this year. And you do just stop giving a shit. It's so enjoyable. It's just
I don't care about anything.
Yeah.
I couldn't give zero fucks, honestly, at this point. About those kinds of things. I care about what matters.
Exactly.
You know, I care about having a voice. I care about safety and security and justice and all those important things. I don't care about whether or not you like the haircut.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree. As long as we're kind to people, isn't that all that matters?
Totally.
I'm going to quote from your book, it is some mums each, but I reckon you could put in here some chicks as well, because it's relevant to all women, whether you've actually cared for a child or not. Some mums remove all their wrinkles. Some mums embrace bumps and dimples. Some mums have a hairy snatch. Other mums prefer to wax. All mums can look however the fuck they want, which I just think all chicks can look however we wish to look. Oh my gosh, it's glorious to see it in print. Why is it so rare for us to feel this way?
Well, why is it so rare to even consider the idea of an adult woman having an adult body? You know, like I honestly don't care if you wax your snatch or not. If you want to go bald beef, like knock yourself out. I have no problem with it. But why do we find it so confronting to think that some women make a different choice and just go, I'm happy with some 70s bush, right? It was never meant to be seen. Okay? Like I like a little bit of coverage. And what is weird about that? I mean, I'm asking you to. I'm actually why?
Well, because we've been brainwashed by what generally has been created from a male gaze, isn't it? I mean, although I don't know, I feel like I'm sharing way too much here, but I do find myself at the waxing salon fairly regularly. So, I don't know.
For you.
Have I been brainwashed?
I remember from it started for me when I was like 12. I remember some other girls in my class coming at me about the fact that I didn't shave my legs. Yes. And like I was 12 years old and they were, not that it matters, but they were very fine, fair leg hairs that you could barely even see, which is totally irrelevant. But 12 years old, I had them telling me that it was gross and that I'm a girl and I need to get rid of them. And I started and then I stopped and that was liberating.
Yes. Do you remember the first time you did shave your leg? Because no one would tell. We had that kind of family, like don't ask, don't tell. Like let's just pretend no one goes through puberty and sex doesn't happen, right? So I had no information. So I tried to dry shave my leg.
Oh.
Tarantino film. Like, it was a bloodbath.
But that's terrible.
And you two know this. I've got a 13-year-old. That pressure's still there. How did that happen to little Kirsty? And it's still there. Like in this era of so-called choice, you know, everything's okay, like make your own decision, blah, blah, blah. How do we still have this much cultural pressure around something like that? And why don't we have it for dudes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I hope the 13-year-old boys are telling each other not to use Lynx Africa.
Yeah. And can you imagine a scenario where a 13-year-old girl says, if you don't shave your balls, I'm not interested, you know? Or a 25 or a 35. I've never heard that. I mean, I haven't been in the dating game for a long time, but I've never heard that. And yet, why do we have the reverse? These poor mums, you're trying to learn to breastfeed, you're up all night, you're bloody caring for kids, the kids have got special needs, blah, blah. And the thing we focus on is, have you got a landing strip or full bush? What? It's absurd. So I'm just trying to go in the book, whatever you've got, it's okay.
Yeah. I love it. I love it, Nelly. And I really just think embrace that notion of like, oh, look, I've done my best and this is all it is today. That's right. And that's enough. You are enough.
Let it go. Let that pressure go. Because all the people telling you that you're not doing it good enough, you know, like you're too feminist, you're not feminist enough, you work too much, you're not working enough, you're too much, you're not enough. Like, what are they doing? Maybe look in your own backyard and leave me alone.
That's right. Well, you must help Nelly Thomas out because you are publishing this yourself and you're raising on Possible. We've got the details there. Go to possible.com/profile Nelly-Thomas and contribute to this book because I think it's a really important piece, actually, Nelly.
Oh. Look, I think it'll be studied for years. And, if you pre-order it now, you can get it for Mother's Day. And can I say, hand on heart, I love yous too. And I think this whole concept of broad radio is fantastic. And I'm so pleased that you're doing it and you're part of the good fight. Good on you.
Oh, thanks, Nelly. And we'll have you back anytime. Now,
Thanks,
we have been gasbagging for too long, Kirsty. So we're going to wrap the show here with Nelly. And as I wrap the show, I've got to give your show a plug for the Comedy Festival, Kirsty. It's called Chakasiki, correct?
Yeah, it sure is. It's not about COVID. People have started asking me that and I'm like, oh, it's not about COVID. It's got nothing to do with that. It's just it's a funny phrase. So nothing about COVID. It's very funny. It's on from April 6th to 18th at Comedy Republic in the city at 6:10 p.m. I will see you all there.
Yeah, Nelly, you'd agree that Kirsty is a great joy to go and watch.
I will be probably going to 2 or 3 shows in the Comedy Festival because I just can't get to that many. And Kirsty's is, I'm quite literally telling you the truth, the top of that list. She's the best. Check
You're
out the
the
rest.
best.
There you go. Ladies, it's been awesome to share Broad Radio with you today. We will be right here next week at 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. When does daylight saving change? Well, I hope we get a sleep in soon.
Oh, soon.
That was your.
Oh,
That's also in your book, isn't it, Nelly? Some mums just really want to take a nap.
And, can I just say, I haven't had the opportunity, Joe, at any point to call you a skinny bitch, because it's not all fat moles, like you can't win. Like if you're a bit on the more robust side, you're a fat mole, but if you're too skinny, you're a skinny, this is why we let it all go. But thank you, skinny bitch. I really appreciate you having me.
It's my absolute joy. I have been called skinny bitch all my life. And
You have.
what am I going to do about it? Also, I get lots of conversation around the length of my face. I don't know. Anyway, that's for another time.
It's perfect.
Ladies, thank you so much. If you're watching on YouTube, do like and subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, chuck us a like. You can always go to broadradio.com.au and subscribe there as well so you don't miss an episode. And don't forget, we are now on podcast as well. We're called Broad Radio On The Go, and you can listen to us via podcast on wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks so much, Nelly and Kirsty. You're the best. Let's go and have a drink sometime soon.
Ciao. Thanks.
Awesome.